today I wanted to ask you 1,000 questions.
Like I respond to everybody who starts with that. I said, you got one question or one and done. Just like Elizabeth wanted to be one and done on our first date. Cha-ching.
Look at you, Mr. Comedian. So I know we've talked about the chakras and the nervous system and all these different things that I've really been diving into. Always have had knowledge of them, but always was the person that said, "Oh, I can't meditate. I have to walk to meditate. I can't just sit there," which is still true. I can't really just sit there with nothing um, without being guided. But now there is like music, certain music I can do, and it's like the most relaxing. It is so addicting that I actually am like, I could meditate all day. It's the best feeling when your nervous system is calm and your mind is clear. It is like an absolute addiction. So it got me thinking because obviously I have 3 kids and I've tried tiny bit being like, "Hey guys," and they're like, "Oh, I don't like
Oh,
your face right now because
if I was your kids, I would tell you, Mom, go fuck yourself right now.
Oh, totally. Well, I no, but I literally have had this face and they're like, "You've read something and you're gonna no, I'm not in the mood." And I'm like, "Damn it." Okay. So I know it's not their time, which it wasn't my time when people told me I had to, right? And so I'm very aware of that. And I'm not one that I will gently, lightly talk about it, but I'm not someone that's going to be like, no, you have to do it. I'm not a forcer. However, it got me thinking about kids with dyslexia, ADHD, all these different things. And I was thinking to myself, when I was a kid, if I knew how to stabilize my nervous system, I wonder how interesting that would have been. And so, my question to you is, do you think that's something that should be taught at an earlier age to all kids?
So are you referencing your meditating? Is that what we're referencing here? Or because that question is very broad, there's a lot of different answers to that. So
I know.
can
I'm
you
talking
narrow
about just
that down?
I'm talking about focusing on settling the nervous system, how we talk about mental health and, early on, settling your nervous system. There's many different things you can do instead of numbing. I think our generation, we were taught more to numb. Oh, I'm drunk. This feels great because I can't remember. I don't remember why my nervous system was all tight.
Can I go back to numbing? Yes.
But so that's the thing. That's my question. Do you think that it's something that should be taught to kids earlier, or do you think? Well, I just want to ask you.
So to be able to fully understand the nervous system, obviously now, they always say, the older you get, the wiser you get, right? You understand more,
So
right?
wise.
Wow. I'm just going to leave that one alone. The understanding is what dictates everything. So can you talk about meditating? Yes. But the problem I have with meditating, when I was there, they tried to, in rehab is, oh yeah, you got to meditate for 20 minutes. Well, okay. When I was born, I wasn't running. I wasn't walking. Just like you're not going to start meditating and start at 20 minutes. It may have to start at a minute. So it all comes down with how it's taught. Just like hockey when I was coaching, everybody wants to go 1 to 10, 100%. And I think, on this, I always try to, I think the word you use, the realist, it's just reality. You can't go 1 to 10. If you go 1 to 10, you're falling on your face. So I think is it good to talk about and teach? Yeah, no problem. The earlier you get, the better you can get at it, right? But you really don't know what your nervous system is or what you're trying to relax at a really young age. Right.
Right.
Do you even having a nervous system. You do, but I'm just doing, in talking preferences. Do you really have a nervous system when you're 5? You're not going to sit there, right? And when you were 5, you're at 35 where you're going to sit there and not bounce off. So I think the conversations about it, just like anything else, the younger you're exposed to it, the easier it'll get you to do it, when you have some understanding. But it's a way it's brought to you. Um, you force anything down anybody's throat, that
Yeah.
usually doesn't work no matter what you're talking about, school, you're talking about religion, you're talking about whatever you want to talk about. You force things down people, yeah, they're usually going to rebel for a long time. They may never not stop rebelling. So it's, you know, talking about it, I think the more you talk about it, um, around them, not to them,
Yeah. Okay. I love that.
'cause you just like, I remember, my kids, I had no idea how to play hockey. Zero clue.
Right.
You ask them, zero clue. I think I'm one of 1,500 ever to do what I did when the company, in the world, but I got no idea what I'm doing. Dad, because I'm dad, right? Kids turn off what mom and dad say directly to them at a certain age. But if they can hear you talk about, in your house, your brother's there, or you and Dan, or whatever, they're hearing these conversations. They're taking more in that way than telling them they need to do this or
Do this. Hmm. No, I love that. And I love how you preface that because, and the reason why I got also was thinking, you know how when we were growing up, it was very much parents were kind of hands off more, right? You didn't really talk about feelings. And now I know all different cultures and different things were different, but it was kind of like you're out. I mean, we talked about feelings, but then
no, to add that, did they know what feelings were back then and what we know now?
no, that's the thing. Like I look at parents and when my kids were little and then there was, I mean, I guess it's the millennials, but I'm not one that likes to group people together, but you would be around a parent that would be talking to their kid, and I remember being like, "Oh, yeah, that's so annoying." If I was that kid, I'd be like, "Fuck off." It would be like, "I see that you're getting upset. I think it's time to take 3 breaths." Right? And I'd be like, "Oh my god." But there was this different flow that it wasn't about spanking, right? It wasn't about the hard love. It wasn't about the punishments. It was like timeouts, right? When my kids were little, it was like you give timeouts and you talk it through. But then they took it even to a next level, and it was like, well, timeouts make them feel isolated, and they don't know how to feel about their feelings. So you need to talk about their feelings. And then the books came out that it was like,
Right.
Sal, I think there was like the hitting hamster, and I remember laughing because my kids brought it home because my kids were not hitters, thank goodness. But they brought it home because they were like, Mom, look, this is like blah, blah, blah in the class. We keep reading it. And it's like this hamster getting pissed and just walloping and hitting someone. So the teacher would say, okay, Johnny, it seems like you're getting annoyed. Why don't you sit and take 3 breaths? And I would laugh. I'd be like, if I was Johnny, then I would punch the teacher and the kid. Like that would piss me off so much. So it really got me thinking of like, we talk about so many different things as dyslexics and being super aware of our emotions and our feelings, but not knowing how to express that and talking to parents about, their kids, these are some signals that maybe something's going on and you want to have a deeper conversation. And then I fast forward also to my kids and I laugh because I'm so into this meditating now. And, the last number of years with yoga. And I was talking to someone, I brought them to not this past summer, the summer before. So they were younger. I brought them to this deep breath work. I brought my mom, it was her birthday. And I was like, I haven't done it yet. We're going to do it. And I
Bride and
literally was
mom?
telling someone that I brought my mom and my 3 kids. And literally, it was like deep, like I was hysterical crying. There's people like having like hysterical crying. And I was like, what's going on? And I was laughing in my head because I was like, oh my God, where are the kids and my mom? So I was telling someone this and they're like, you brought your teenagers? And I was like, yes. And the funniest thing was, as we're leaving, Montgomery, who's my, oldest, but for anyone that hasn't listened to this, he literally goes, "Oh my God, that was so gross." It was like, oh, everyone's breath. I'm breathing in everyone else's breath because you literally are like going, it's like this pattern, but you almost were doing it so you almost passed out. But basically, it's resetting your nervous system and bringing up traumas. So I had a pretty cool experience. Penelope happened to be in between two people that were literally having like an episode. I could hear them and I was like in my head thinking, "Oh shit, she's in between them. This is going to be interesting." My mom and Truman and Montgomery went back. Now Truman, who's like, he goes, "That was kind of cool. I had this like sensation through my body." He's like, "It was really weird, but like I actually feel really good afterwards." And I was like, "Oh, dude, you had the same sensation." He's like, "This went and this went." I'm like, "Oh, that's what happened to me." And he's like, "And I think I got like a little, like it was like weird. I was having like a little emotions, but that was like, I don't ever want to do that again, but that was interesting." Montgomery was like, "I can't believe you brought us. That was disgusting. All I kept thinking is everyone's germs going in my body." Penelope looked at me and was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And what was happening to the people around me? That was the weirdest fucking thing. And I looked at my mom and she was like, "That," and I go, "Mom, we did it for your birthday." And then I got pissed because I was trying to do it to make her, it was this whole thing. My whole point is I should not have brought my teenagers nor my mom. And that experience backfired in my face. So anytime I'm like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this?" They're like, "Is it going to be like that breathing thing?" And I'm like,
Right.
"No, it's not. Now we can laugh about it." But Dan was like, "No, I'm not doing the breathing thing with you. I've
No.
heard about the breathing thing." So no one will ever do it because I fucked up. I didn't think about it. So I'm thinking like when I was a kid, and I talked about this on the last podcast, so I'm not going to go into it. But the first time it was during swimming when I had this incredible meditation, only time that I actually felt my nervous system relax. And I never felt it again until the last couple years of me actually doing meditation, guided meditation, not the meditation that they have said I should try and all of these different things. So it's like, but what you said is perfect. You have to talk about it around, not throw it down anyone's throat. And then maybe someone will be like, "Yeah, that could be interesting. I would like to try it," but feeling safe and not forced.
And they've got to feel, you know, because now, you talked about generations. Obviously, you know, our generation was, yeah, spankings. Oh my God, when that belt came out, how many wooden spoons were broken over my
I did
ass.
not get spanked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did not get spanked. My parents did not spank, but
Uh, oh yeah.
I had friends that their parents spanked.
Oh,
Yeah.
my kids got spanked too and slapped across the head, and that's the way it was back then. And
Right. That's right.
and the problem that I have with now, and you talk referencing, the book and breathing, is most people talk about mental health have zero clue what they're saying.
Right.
You know, there's people that everybody wants to have good mental health. Who doesn't? Well, what does that mean? How are you trying to get there? Mhm. Do you even want to get there? Some of the people's traumas are just way too scary to go to. It's a lot of this, you talk about your actions, addiction, a lot of addiction actions are trauma based. Some people can't go there. So, how people get to their mental health, the best mental health, it's going to be different for everybody. That's why, you force things one way or the other, left, right, center. It might not be right for them. Let's talk about us dyslexics, right? Oh, this is how you got to do it. The people who don't have dyslexia. Oh, this is how you need to react. This is how you need to read. This isn't the, you don't even understand, right? And what's it doing? It's creating worse mental health for us,
Right.
right? It makes things worse. Oh, you got to do this. You got to stand in front of class. You got to read out loud. You got to do this. You got to do right. What's that do to us? Makes things worse.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's different. So you have to just lay it on a silver platter and let them be able to take it when their time. And it's as kids, as parents, You wish you could go back and you fix everything. Sometimes
Mhm,
you just got to be there to pick them up when they skin their knee because they have to skin their knee to not to understand, right? It's he can talk about it blue in the face and he just example, Dad, you got no idea how to play hockey, right? Because I was dad, right? Your mom. At some point in time, they shut it off. Doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter who you are, you know, they're gonna, you don't know, right? They just have to be
mhm,
able to pick that grape off that silver platter when they're ready.
mhm.
And the more open you are at a younger age, talking about things so they can hear them, the earlier I believe that they'll be able to take
Absorb it.
it. Mhm.
Mhm. Well, and I think that's such a good point, and it and a lot of times, as you said, parents are not even in the spot to be able to do it. And I do think that there's also something, when you're like, I do so much natural stuff with my kids, and I know that there's gonna be a period when they leave that they're gonna be like, "I'm doing opposite," and then they probably will come back, and maybe they won't completely do opposite, but that's just the nature of things, like, as you said, when your parents are telling you all the time, "This is what you need to do," you need to learn it yourself, you need to fall on your face to be like, "Okay, now I need to do it." You can't helicopter the every out aspect of when you're raising your kids, like, I used to let them run free, and I remember people being like, "Oh, shouldn't they have the helmet? Shouldn't they do this? Oh, I can't believe your daughter's at the top of the tree that if she fell, she would die." I'm like, What? No, she's climbing a tree. Why? I'm not gonna helicopter every moment that they do because they have to learn, and that's where they get confidence when you give them the abilities. But so I loved what you said about just talking about it around, but again, it goes back to people used to say all the time, "Meditating's so good." I would read about it, and anytime I try to do it, I would get really frustrated because I was like, "It's my ADHD brain. I can't do it." And I would get angry. As you just said, I would get pissed and I'd be like, "Okay, that's not for me. When I walk, that's when I meditate, and that's how I do it." I figured it out on my own just because it's just the way life has gone, where now I can do guided meditation, but it's a very different meditation than I was first taught. So, if people are interested, also, I would like to learn about this, but I haven't, I looked into it and it wasn't for me. This is what I also say in the whole mental health world. Just because something works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that's where the whole self awareness, that's why I always talk about self awareness so much. When you're self aware and you know your body, you can feel this doesn't feel right. And it's not that I'm resisting it. It's just maybe it doesn't feel right because it's not right for me and I need to try something else. And that's the same with kids.
And obviously right now we have, obviously mental health is a buzzword. Right now
Mhm.
and especially in schools, kids' mental health. But the adults in the world have never been in a worse mental health space. So it's tough to have good mental health without understanding.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, no matter what you do, you know, break up, divorce, relationship, move away to go to college, your first job. Like, there's so much going on in the world right now. It's tough to have any clarity to be able to do anything that we're talking about right now without understanding. You can't have um, self-reflection is that's how you get understanding, right? You can't have self-awareness that you're referencing to without understanding.
Mhm.
It's and that's why the diagnosis and understanding of what, let's just start, dyslexia, what that is. Okay, what's that mean for me, if I have it, or what's that mean for my kid, if that have it, or my wife or my husband, what does that mean? Or ADHD, get how does that relate to my kid or my husband or my wife or my boyfriend or my girlfriend? Because it's different for everybody. You know, right now, I think ADHD is the biggest buzzword,
I know.
biggest um
It's like the cool kids on the block. "No,
yeah,
I'm neurodiverse."
there yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to put it's so many people are just going to going to the pediatrician and oh, so and so did a quick 5 tests, he's ADHD, so we're gonna like That's the biggest word probably out there, probably with the most word without zero understanding. And if you go to the pediatricians, 8 out of 10 pediatricians aren't going to have a clue what it means, what it is. So
No, they just read it in a book.
it's read, read in a book, and I mean, what does it say in this line? So understanding is, it comes is the biggest thing to this whole thing, right? To be able to have some understanding, then the meditation, and you want to sell your nervous system, like all that adds up, but you got to have some understanding of what is going on.
Yep. I totally agree with everything that you just said. The one thing though, I do think that a lot of people don't stop enough to have self-awareness where they use it like, "Well, I'm not self-aware because I don't have understanding about myself," but they're not giving themselves a chance to be like, "Okay, I was doing this and I was feeling this way." Now, whether it's because I'm a woman or the way I was built, I obviously am very in tuned. I always have been, but I didn't know when I was a child what that meant, right? I didn't know that that was like, "Oh, I'm extremely introspective. I know how things work and all of these different things." But I allowed myself to kind of go with it. And I was fortunate enough to have a family that didn't shut it down, right? Like if you have a kid that's constantly being like, wait, I feel like this is going on or this, but some parents don't have time because as you said, there's so much
Well, some
out there
people
right
don't
now where
want.
people are just trying to survive it. Right. They
Some
don't
people don't
want it.
want to know too, right?
Mhm.
Um,
But how important is it into healing?
it's everything. But again, that comes into play too. Do they want to understand it? Do you want to go there? Is it fun?
No.
Right.
Okay, so I have another question for you.
Well, of
So
course
this
you
is
do.
just 3. I have 10,000 more. Um, so if someone's listening to this and they're like, "Okay, well, I do wanna become more self-aware. I do wanna have more understanding. I want to do this." What dyslexic or not dyslexic, this could be a parent that's listening to this as a dyslexic kid, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing great, and I wanna do something." Do you have any tips for them?
Yo, write things down, or record things, or remember things. How did you know? How did this happen? How did I get to this? How did it feel? If it's your kid, okay, he had this. All right, what happened before that? What happened? What led up to there? And we always talk about um, the why, right? So let's use the reference point of you know school shootings, right? The big thing is that everybody's on antidepressants, or they're focused on that. Okay, but nobody's focused on why are they there. No. So how did I get to this situation? What led to what? Is
Mhm.
a divorce. Okay, how did I get here? If there's always, it's how did it happen? Look at yourself, not your partner. What happened to me? What did I do? What did I do? You got a dyslexic kid. Okay, they got in trouble. What led to that? It just things
Almost
don't.
peeling back the onion, almost like peeling back the onion, right?
You have to. Nothing happens. Boom. What led to that? Right? How did we get to 10? There's a lot of numbers before 10. What led to that? So, for and I've worked with so many people. Unfortunately, in our life, mental health and things like that. There's no chapter book. Okay, we're on chapter 6 and page whatever. Take a look at where you are today. Now think where you were 1 year ago back. Were you in a better place? Were you in a worse place? Am I stagnant? Am I excelling? can't look at anybody else. And obviously we talk about this all the time. You got to fall in love with yourself, love who you are, right? Know it, feel and believe it. But where were you a year ago? Are you in a better place? All right, you're doing things right. It doesn't happen overnight. Just turned 49. All my shit didn't happen overnight. It took 49 years to get here. So you think it's gonna go away overnight? No,
Mhm.
no, sure wish, right? But that's so it's also putting things in perspective too. You know, you didn't get here overnight. It's not going to go away overnight. You're not going to get this understanding overnight. But did I get a little? It's a little more than I had before we started this. Yes, that's a huge victory. And now
Mhm.
it's, there's a difference between 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
I love that. I'm gonna just leave it there because I think that's like a little work that someone can do, writing things out and figuring it out. And you can do that daily. You can do it. You can start in the morning and then you could do it in the evening. And it is work. Everything
Or tape
to
it like
be a better person.
you love taping, right?
Yeah, voice text.
You love hearing yourself talk, so you can on your
I do.
whatever it doesn't have to be writing, voice note, just so that you have starting point, whatever that ends up
Mhm.
being for that individual.
Exactly. And so I think that's like a really good reference for someone to start. Well, thank you. I liked these questions that I was able to ask you, and thank you for the answers because I think it's just again for someone to think about and taking little steps to make themselves a little bit more self-aware, which is just going to lead to a little bit more healing. And the better that we can be, the better our children can be because of having a healthy parent means having a healthier child or being able to be there for your child.
And there's only one thing, I talk about, life's not easy, right? You got all these rich people. Can you take, there's only one thing you can take with you. It's not your money. It's your legacy. And what's that going to be?
Like, rate, review, and share, and we'll see you for another episode of Word Blindness Dyslexia Express.